The Mille it's joyful. I think I heard somebody say it's the most well-attended automotive event in the world. It's like a national holiday. It is only what can be done in Italy. Each day 1 is 8 hours, day 2 is 14 hours or 15 hours. But these are long days, and they're 200-300 miles every day. But you have 440 cars, which means that you're moving around the country a couple thousand people, including the crews, plus the media. Cars have to be scrutinized. They have to be in accordance with a car that ran in period. So sometime between 1927 and 57. Once you get your scrutiny, which is basically an inspection that, you haven't taken and stuck, a Chevy V8 in the middle of an old MG, then you're given permission to go to the ceiling. And the ceiling was a certification that this car is going to run in the Mille Miglia. I drove a 1953 Lincoln Capri, which I purchased a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, which took a couple of years to get restored and race ready. My co-driver was the same as the year before and the year before, Ken Jones. He's a race car driver, engine builder, terrific partner. You moved to third?
Yes.
You agree?
Yep. Please.
No, we're best buds. And we've done this enough that we've worked out we have a kind of a system. Kent, he does the initial road book. He covers the time trial work. I then take the road book and I do the highlights on all the directional instructions. The team, the guys that build the car, they work so hard to get it ready. The reason I got this car is twofold reason. One is somebody in 1953, an Italian guy who was a race driver, drove the Mille in period in 1953 in a Lincoln Capri. Now the significance is that in 1952, 3, and 4, Lincoln participated in the Panamericana Mexico race and came in 1, 2, 3, and 4. The guy that actually won said it was like driving across Mexico on a steel beam, so strong. So we bought it. It went to Alex Skinner, and he did the rebuild, and Kent did the rebuild of the engine. And it's a 4,500 pound car, so it's heavy, and it's 20 feet long, so it's big. The car is a fantastic car. Driving pretty briskly, and there on the side of the road will be a whole family with tablecloth out, with a bottle of wine, hors d'oeuvres, waving flags. The Mille Miglia is how I learned Italian Sign Language. The time trials are point A to point B at specific distances with specific time. And every second is 100 penalty points if you miss it. So if you have to go from this point to this point, and let's just use the illustration of 50 meters and a 10 seconds, which would give you a suggested 20 kilometers an hour speed. The guys that win, they'll hit that 10-second mark. They may hit it at 10.01. When Kent and I first started doing this, when I thought we were doing pretty well, we would hit, 10.75, which means 3/4 of a second off. But now we've got it reduced down to where, with Raphael as well, we're down to average errors of 0.21, 0.18. To really be well competitive, you got to be 0.20 or less. This is a pretty special car now. I really wanted to do it in this car. I wanted to see what this experience is going to be like, and it was a much different experience. Our plan was clear. This car was not going to whip around switchbacks at high speed, and that there might be a few three-point turns in some of the towns. So the plan was deliberate speed and don't push the turning. And with the deliberate speed, because the car has a lot of torque and a lot of horsepower, on the country roads and so on, it just obliterated, the bumps and the potholes and stuff. It's a walled city, so you're driving through a series of concentric circles to where you get to the final street where it's a pedestrian street. So you're going very slow. You're going 4 or 5 kilometers an hour. You can't speed anyhow. I always put on Pavarotti at that point, and I put it up really loud, and Kent hates it, I know that. But when you come in that big Lincoln, we had the windows down, people started singing with us. And you come in there, and there you are in the middle of that piazza, and there's people lined up from all around the world just to see those cars, and they're the best cars in the whole world. To me, that's the highlight. You can't describe it. You can't, you go through all these towns and these villages, and you're not out in the middle of the countryside. You're not on freeways. It's not like you're out on a big, autostrada. The scenery was beautiful. And we had pretty good weather. Pull into places like Villa Borghese at midnight in Rome, and there are people everywhere. There isn't a single road when we're coming down that you don't see people on it. the organization gave us car number slot 150. Now there's 440 cars in this. Now it's 1953. So generally speaking, below car number 120, 130 is usually all pre-war cars. So that means pre-1945. But this year they had a special slot for cars 145 to 49, which were in period, very special Ferraris. And they put us with them, which I thought was a great treat. So we had a great car number. Some of the people show up and they go, "Oh my God, I'm going to ruin my car." My view is that's what paint shops are for. We just barreled through. People come out, they celebrate, you see the children, they have their flags. Between the countryside drive, you pull into walled cities, you pull into all the old towns, and you pull into a village. You get a timestamp. The mayor or some official will be there. There'll be a band, there'll be kids. They celebrate it, they announce it, and it's unbelievably attended. The car ran really, really well, very strong. On the hillsides when other people were like burning out their clutches because we had an automatic while we were waiting to go into a time trial, we just sat there, put it in park, smoked a cigar and relaxed.
Abbiamo anche qui un'altra lettura, guardate, macchina statunitense ma il marchio italiano nel nome, Capri. Mentre arriva la prima Mercedes, il tridente raffigurato.
You get up in the morning and you take a deep breath, right? You know, you have this dream. Okay, here's how I'm gonna do today. And you're feeling robust, you're feeling healthy, and you're ready to go. And like I said, you gotta stick with the plan. You stick with the plan, and we did stick with the plan, and we did very, very well. You know, our errors on our time trials were really quite low, best we've ever done. My goal was, can we put in practice what we learned in the prior event. And by doing that, we're making progress. Enzo Ferrari, he had one of the great lines, which was that the dangers of success is, when things go well, there's this momentary belief that you've just hit success, which isn't true. They've gone well for that particular event, that particular activity, because if you hit that point and you say, okay, I'm done, then you stop learning. So, when I was thinking about my goal was, let's do better, and what can we learn from that and do better again? When we first started, we just wanted to finish. It didn't matter what number, but we were so terrible. We would come in so late. Then we improved. We went, we got into the middle hundreds, which I thought was pretty good. And then we got into like 100, and I think it was a couple year ago, it was like 110, 120. And our goal was to get into the double digits. It's all teamwork. So no privadown is allowed. When you're driving on these events, these are not like, the boss and the employee. These are partners. Whether someone is, a really great navigator and someone's a great driver, you're still partners. And the thing that makes the cars unusual is it takes a lot to get to know a car. So you can't just pop someone in. The flip side is you can't pop someone in and say, okay, you get in this Jaguar, this Ferrari, start driving it. You can't do that. At the end of every one of these big races, we have that little shot, the shot glasses with the bourbon. And we were joking because the first time I did it, which was back in 18 or 19, didn't even finish. The tradition is at the end of the race, when we're coming in, we put on Pavarotti. So we come up, and my friend Marco Bacos is always at the finish line, and we bring him a cigar, we have Pavarotti, I got Kent, and we got the car, and we're happy, and we did great. And we finished the best finish we've ever had. We wanted it. We've never finished in the double digits, and we finished at number 87, which is really remarkable.